watched my pre-match analysis, I talked about Manchester. You don't know the Manchester City to expect. That Manchester City have been shambolic. If there is anything more than shambolic, parasaic, mpamaric, and neophilic, that's what Man City are this season. Man City are a bunch of trash. Manchester City are a team that when they are doing something, they are unrecognizable. Like it's boring. Most times I feel like sleeping off. You are angry, you are annoyed watching Manchester City. Even if you are not their fan, you are annoyed and angry at what they are doing. They are doing absolutely trash. They are being shambolic. They can't spring passes. They cannot create chances. Like nothing is going on well at Manchester City. One thing must happen. Is either Pep Guardiola decides to adapt or readapt, or he leaves for another manager to come. Why did I say he should adapt? I've said it a couple of times that this Manchester City side, they are tailored for counter-attacking football. They are craving and crying and yearning for counter-attacking football, high-pressing football. This possession football experiment will not work with this current crop of players. With this crop of players that you have at City, possession football will not work. It will not work. You don't have Kevin De Bruyne at his prime. You don't have Ederson at his prime. You don't have ball-playing defenders again. City, you have ball-playing goalkeeper. They used to have ball-playing midfielders that will navigate through tight spaces. You don't have those midfielders again. You don't have Bernardo Silva at his best again. You don't have David Silva again. You don't have Riyad Mahrez again. You don't have Kevin De Bruyne again. You don't have Okay Gundogan at his prime again. Those players that made it possible for possession football to be effective, that adapted into the Pep style of play, they are no longer there. This is a different bunch of players. So all you need to do, Pep Guardiola, is to adapt. You adopted that formation the season, which we all applauded you for adapting. Despite all you've won, you decided to adapt. Play counter-attacking football, defensive football, rallying position to your opponent. And it worked. Counter-attacking that Erling Haaland had spaces to attack behind. He went on a spray. He went on a streak. Scored in 10 consecutive games. 11 consecutive games for Manchester City earlier in the season. So why not go back and play to the strength of the players? This possession football and experiment, it will not work. It's not going to work. It's either Pep adapts or Pep leaves. That is the truth. That is the pure truth. That is the problem at Manchester City. It's not an individual something. It's not a player. It's a structural issue. You see that Pep changes, goes back to that counter-attacking football, high-pressing football that worked for City earlier in the season. We saw games against Real Madrid. We saw games against Liverpool. Games against Bournemouth that Manchester City won. It was down to them relinquishing possession and sitting back. They had spaces to attack. The players at City currently, they cannot create spaces for themselves. You have to create that space. They have to attack spaces. Now they cannot do those your mid block, those your triangular passes, those spring passes. It do not work. Go back to the counter-attacking football. Go back to counter-pressing. Go back to high-pressing football. That's the only way City can get back to their best this season. That's if they are going to win anything. Unless Pep Guardiola is fed up at City.